The courtroom was silent, so silent you could hear the clock ticking on the wall. A 17-year-old black teenager, Malik Carter, stood in front of the judge, his hands trembling, his eyes locked on the wooden floor. The air was heavy with tension, every seat in the gallery filled with people waiting for the verdict. Malik wasn't a hardened criminal. He wasn't a gang leader. He was just a kid who made one mistake, a mistake that now threatened to cost him everything. The judge leaned forward, his voice sharp and final. Life. The word echoed through the courtroom like a thunderclap. Gasps broke out. Malik's mother, seated in the front row, let out a cry that pierced the silence. His younger sister buried her face in her hands, sobbing uncontrollably. Malik's knees nearly buckled. He had just been sentenced to life in prison for a crime he swore he didn't commit. And then, something unexpected happened. Malik asked for his phone. At first, the guards resisted, but seeing the boy's tearful eyes, they allowed him one call. He dialed a number with trembling fingers. When the line clicked, the courtroom froze as Malik's quiet voice carried through. Dad, it's me. They gave me life. There was a long pause on the other end. Then, a deep voice replied, calm but firm. I'm coming, son. What no one in that courtroom realized was that Malik's father wasn't just any man. He was the United States Attorney General, the highest-ranking law enforcement officer in the nation. Malik's life had never been easy. Growing up in a poor neighborhood, he was surrounded by crime, drugs, and violence. His mother worked 2 jobs just to put food on the table, and his father, often away in Washington, D.C., tried to balance serving the country with being a present dad. Malik wasn't perfect. He'd skipped school, hung out with the wrong crowd, and once got caught shoplifting. But this time, the accusation was far more serious. Armed robbery of a convenience store where the clerk had been injured. The evidence was shaky. A blurry surveillance video, a witness who wasn't sure, and a biased prosecutor who painted Malik as a threat to society. Despite the lack of proof, the jury convicted him. And the judge, influenced by politics and pressure, threw down the harshest possible sentence, life without parole. Malik felt his world crumble. He thought of the dreams he had, the scholarship offers, his love for drawing, his dream of becoming an architect. Gone in a moment. But when his father walked into that courtroom, everything changed. The Attorney General's presence was commanding, his tailored suit crisp, his eyes blazing with a fire that made even the judge shift uncomfortably. He didn't yell. He didn't threaten. He simply stood beside his son, placed a hand on his shoulder, and said, "This fight isn't over." What followed was a battle not just for Malik's freedom, but for justice itself. His father assembled a team of the best lawyers in the country. They uncovered evidence that the prosecutor had hidden, a security tape from another angle showing Malik wasn't even in the store. They found that the witness had been pressured to identify Malik. And they exposed the systemic bias that had allowed a teenage boy to be condemned without real proof. The retrial was grueling. Malik sat day after day, hearing people argue about his life as though it was just another case. He struggled with anger, with fear, with the crushing weight of hopelessness. Some nights in his cell, he cried himself to sleep, wondering if he'd ever feel the sun on his face as a free man again. But every time he looked at his father, sitting there, unwavering, he found strength. His father reminded him, "Son, they can chain your body, but never let them chain your spirit." When the truth finally came out, the courtroom atmosphere shifted. The new evidence was undeniable. The jury that once condemned him now returned with a new verdict, not guilty. The judge who had coldly said life now had no choice but to overturn the sentence. Malik's shackles were removed, and he walked free. The moment was overwhelming. His mother ran to him, tears streaming down her face as she hugged him tightly. His sister clung to him like she would never let go. And his father, usually composed and stoic, allowed a single tear to escape as he whispered, "Welcome back, son." But the story didn't end there. Malik didn't let bitterness consume him. Instead, he turned his pain into purpose. He began speaking at schools, warning other young men about the dangers of falling into the wrong crowd. He worked with his father to push for reforms in the justice system, fighting against unfair sentencing, racial bias, and wrongful convictions. His voice, once nearly silenced, now carried hope for others. He became living proof that even in the darkest hour, resilience and truth could shine through. So, what's the message in Malik's story? It's this: life will throw challenges at you. People may judge you unfairly. Systems may fail you. But never give up. Because truth has power. Love has power. And sometimes, even when the world seems against you, there will be someone who believes in you enough to fight until the very end. And before we close, I want to hear from you. What do you think about Malik's story? Do you believe justice is truly equal for everyone? Share your thoughts in the comments, I'd love to read them. If this story moved you, please don't forget to like this video, share it with someone who needs inspiration, and subscribe to my channel, Be Kind Always, for more powerful stories that touch the heart and spark change. Because kindness is a choice. And together, we can choose to be kind, always.